Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're going to be looking at a relatively new product, and that is Declassified by Christoper Rawlins. A very interesting drawing duplication effect that some of you are going to probably like, some of you are maybe not going to like as much, but I have some thoughts of it. I'm a bit mixed feelings on certain parts of this effect, and I'm going to share everything with you. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Declassified. So what is Declassified? Declassified in simple essence is a drawing duplication. That's what it is. It's a drawing duplication in its simplest form. So the way that this would work is, I'm not going to do a full performance because I have no one with you and there's a lot of patter, but essentially you would introduce this document. It's a real document from the CIA. You would explain to your spectators, you would give them the story around Uri Geller, this document. If you want to see a full performance and the full story, there's a 6-minute uncut performance on YouTube where you can watch the actual way that this would play out. You would tell the story, you would share them with them, you would go through the document and you would tell them, look, there's different things here, there's different images, there's text, see, there's different things that people have drawn on here that you could, and that Uri Geller was able to pick up on. This is the most famous one with the grapes. So essentially you would go through and you would present this document to them. Then you would have them essentially keep the document towards themselves like this, so you can't see anything. They would lift up to any page in the document, look at the drawing, remember it, close everything, put the document back, boom, like this, close it, and then you would be able, when you turn your head around, you take a pad or a piece of paper, or even mentally if you want, and you could reveal the drawing that they did. That's what you can do with Declassified in its simplest form. So now that you know what it is, let's talk about where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So this is available at Vanishing Ink, ALAKAZAM Magic, and it's also available from Christoper Rawlins himself. Now, this is, if you buy it from Chris, you can buy the same version that's available from Vanishing Ink and ALAKAZAM. However, Chris also has a pro version that comes with a booklet where he teaches you how to do this as a routine. So he's going to teach you how to do it in a multi-phase routine that is essentially an act. So that is purchasable from him directly, and you can also purchase this separately. So if you buy this, for example, like myself from ALAKAZAM, you can also go to his website and buy the booklet separately and learn the extra routines. But nonetheless, it will set you back 2 different prices as well. If you buy the normal one, this is $49.99 USD for the normal version of Declassified, which is around 60-70 Canadian. And if you want to buy the pro version, I believe that one is $20 more expensive. So I believe it's 69, so it's around 90 something Canadians for the pro edition. And what you get with your purchase is, if you buy the normal version, which is the one that I have, you get your document. So you get the folder, you get the document, which is made with a bit of a glossier page. Everything is really well made. You even get the clip, everything is given to you. So it's really well made. It's made by hand. Even Chris did some parts of it, like the stamps. He said he stamped every single one himself. So everything is made really, really well. You get the folder, and then you also are going to be getting a tutorial video, which is around an hour and 10 minutes long, where he goes over the history of this, how to perform it, the storytelling of this, how to do it deceptively, how to add layers of deception, how to make it more fooling, etc, etc, etc. Everything is explained in the tutorial video, and the tutorial is very well made. So that's what you get with the normal version, and as I said, with the pro version, you're going to get an additional booklet that is going to go over some additional routines and ways to do this effect. So now that we know this, how difficult is Declassified to perform? Well, Declassified is a storytelling piece, which means that out of the maybe 5 minutes that is going to take you to perform the effect, there is basically 0 kind of things that you have to do as a magician. You just have to tell a story and a simple instruction and just flick through the pages in a very simple manner. So in terms of performance, it is pretty much hands-off and self-working. It is super, super easy to perform. So you're just gonna have to work on your scripting and on what you want to do. Now, I would add that I personally really like doing this in 2 phases. If you own Chris Rawlins' dictionary book test, I forgot the name of it, but if you own his dictionary book test, you can actually add on to this with that, because in the document it does tell you, and this is in the pro version, maybe, I'm not so sure, but essentially it tells you that the way the experiment worked is by someone going through a dictionary, opening it to a random page, looking at the first word, and seeing if that could be drawn as an image. And if yes, they would draw it. If not, they would then pick something else. And if you own that book test, essentially, you'll be able to add it as an extra at the end of the routine, and I feel it makes the routine play much stronger, and that again is self-working. So you can have a bit of an even longer routine if you want without the need of the pro version. If you own his book test with the dictionary, you could pair them together, and I feel it works very well. That's how I've performed it when I've performed it, and I'll be honest, the add-on of the actual dictionary got better reactions than the classified itself, but that's what it is. But we're going to talk about that a bit more. But first, let's continue on that. We've established that this is relatively easy to do. Let's continue on into the practicality. So how practical is this? In terms of carrying capacity, this is not practical at all. You'll have to carry around this big folder, and you will have to carry around something to do your drawing on. So a pad, a notebook. You don't want to have this big folder and then write, do your drawing on a little billet, just like this, a mini drawing. You want it on something bigger, on something larger. So you're going to have to carry around the pad and this big folder with you when you're going to be performing the effect, which is for practicality reasons, not very practical at all. Especially even if you own one of the TCC bags, if you put your pad and this inside, it basically fills half of the box for you for one effect. That's a drawing duplication that you could do in different ways. For example, with Echo, the project that Chris Rawlins put out with 1914, the Echo project, you can pretty much do almost the same thing, but without the storytelling. So is it really worth filling up half your carrying case for this effect? Up to you to decide. Personally, for me, it is not. In terms of angles, the angles for this are pretty much 360. In terms of examinability, this is not examinable whatsoever. You do not want someone, after they have chosen their drawing, to flick through the pages. You do not want that at all. In terms of reset, it is an instant reset, but you cannot perform this to the same group of people, and it will always be the same result. And lastly, in terms of table, you do need a table in order to perform this effect. Now let's talk about where to perform. So where do you perform this? Personally, this is not something you're going to do table hopping. This is now something you're going to do at cocktails or parlor or kind of, moving events. This is something that you're going to do maybe in a close-up parlor show or in an intimate show or something maybe at your house. If someone talks to you about some stuff, you can pull this out and tell them, look, let me show you something really interesting. You can pull this out. And this is not something even I would do on stage personally. Maybe if I own the pro version and I see how he uses it, because he says that he uses this in his stage act, maybe if I own the pro version, I can see how that can be applied. But with just the normal version, I would not necessarily do this on stage. I think if I want to reveal a drawing, there's other ways. For example, the Luca Volpe drawing duplication in his ALAKAZAM act is a stage piece as well, and I feel it is so much better. And I would rather perform that in stage than this. So overall, this is, in my opinion, performable for intimate settings, close-up at, close-up parlor or close-up cabaret, not something that you do from table to table or anything like that. So now that we've said this, what are the positives and negatives of Declassified? Let's start out with the negatives. 1, it will always be the same result. 2, it is kind of a burden to carry around. So you're going to have to carry around quite a few things to perform this effect, and these things are not small, which means that for example, this and my pad is probably this thick. I could probably carry around maybe 10 other effects with me. I know, it's not the number of effects that you carry, it's the strength of them, but if you're a strolling magician, you do want to have some backups. So, it is what it is. 3, you will always need a table for this with some space. You will need time because this relies a lot on the story behind it. So if you're not doing, there's no point in doing this if you're just going to show up, say, look at this cool CIA document. Open to any page. Remember the drawing. Let me draw it. There's no point. So you're going to need time in order to do this effect. And it's always, I don't know if I said it, but it's always going to be the same result. So for walk around table hopping, it is not going to be ideal for those scenarios. Okay. Now, in terms of positives, what are the positives? The instructions are good. The document is extremely well made. It's made with care. The story behind this is very, very good. It's very simple to do. It lets you focus on your presentation. And if you own some other effects, you can add to this routine and make it play a bit stronger than it already does. So would I recommend Declassified, and what do I think of it on a scale from 1 to 10? Would I recommend Declassified? I think it's hard because I do enjoy the actual effect and thinking behind it, but I don't think I'm going to be performing it much. And that's because I think it's too much to carry around, too hefty to carry around. It's a one-trick pony. You cannot do almost anything else with this. It's always going to be the same result. You're going to have to find a good place to do this, and that's not going to come often. So personally, I don't think I'm going to perform this much. I think this is just going to be an in-house thing. So if someone comes at my house and we start talking about true crime or, you know, CIA documents or mentalism, I would be like, oh, let me show you something, and I would pull this out and do this then. But for almost 70 Canadian dollars, is that worth to have a household trick with you? I don't know. Maybe if I own the pro version and see how Chris actually routines it for stage, that would maybe change my mind, but I'm reviewing the version that I have, so there's no point in me speculating. So I would not be performing this very much in my opinion. So because of this, I'm giving it a 7 on 10. I do like the thinking, it does work, it is fun, the presentational hooks are great around it, but it is not my favorite release of his, for example, of the past few. I think that Memorate is his best release in a long time. I think it is absolutely fantastic. And I've reviewed that. I've reviewed Predictable. I've reviewed almost all of his projects since I own all of them. So this is not me, you know, having an agenda against Chris or anything like that. I've reviewed every single project he's brought out. I've purchased it with my own money and I have liked almost all of them. But this one just doesn't hit as much as I would like for my performance style and my preferences, which is why I'm giving it a 7. I still recommend it if you are interested in it because it is good and it is going to work, but personally it is not for me, or once I got it, I did not intend to, the way that I intend to use it doesn't really work as much as I wanted to, but overall that's all I have to say about Declassified. If you have any other questions, leave them down below. If not, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later in my next review. Have a great one, and bye.